Hello and welcome to Across the Acres, a Beck's Hybrids podcast, where our goal is to connect, challenge, and inspire each and every one of you by interviewing others who have a story or message to share. My name is David Ringer. I am your host, and I'm joined by my faithful producer, engineer, man behind the board, Morgan Fitch.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. It's groggy outside. Is that
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel groggy?
Yeah, it's a little humid, little kind of gray rain passing through.
Yeah, I'm a bright sunshine kind of guy. But Gina Beckner has joined us today on Across the Acres. Gina, we're thrilled to have you. What kind of weather do you like?
Thanks. I like the warm sunshine.
Okay. Is
Definitely.
that the sole reason you joined Beck's was because you wanted to fly to the Caymans?
No, actually, I'm not on to the Caymans yet. That's yet to come. I get lovely tropical places like Nebraska and Kansas right now.
Which are gorgeous this time of year, by no one's standard. But hey, it could be worse, I guess.
We love our Nebraska and Kansas listeners.
We
That's
do.
right.
So
We do. But they've got the same humid environment we have here today.
Now they do, but we've went through some quite nasty winter weather with those poor people. They got
I
a
bet.
lot of blizzards over the winter,
It
so
was rough.
it was rough for them. We had it mild. They had it rough.
They did. And it will get arid in the summer out there as well. They have a little bit of a feast or famine when it comes to moisture. It's not ideal. So shout out to our Nebraska, Kansas friends and family. Thank you for enduring what you do. We need those states and all that they provide. But Gina, we are thrilled to have you today. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
You are relatively new to Beck's Hybrids.
I am. I started back in July of 2023. So
Wow. Not even a 1-year-old baby yet.
no,
Wow.
not yet.
My goodness.
I'm still the newbie.
Yeah. Oh, do they blame you for stuff?
No, luckily I've gotten a couple newbies behind me now, so
Good.
it's kind of taking the heat off of it.
Good. It's always nice when you're no longer the new person.
Yeah.
Because there's another new person involved.
Yeah.
That's a good day.
yeah, for sure.
But again, let's tell everybody, first of all, Gina, what do you do for Beck's Hybrids?
I'm one of the captains in the flight department at Beck's Hybrids, so I support the sales team with all the flights. We bring in the tours.
Very
Very
good.
cool.
And about how many tours do we do a week?
Oh, wow. It depends. Busy season, we're doing five a week per airplane. So we just came out of that really busy season. We're kind of in the lull now with everybody in planting, but we're starting to see that schedule pick back up in the next couple weeks.
You bet.
So, we'll run 3 or 4 trips here
Okay.
coming up the next couple weeks until all the planning's done throughout our regions, and then we'll be back full force during PFR and, of course, Technology Days.
Oh yeah.
Oh, my.
So,
Really busy.
yeah.
Okay. How about you personally? What's your background? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up here in central Indiana, west central Indiana, right on the Illinois state line, so close to our operations over around the Champaign-Arcola area and that. And then I went to Indiana State University for college. And yeah, I'm a tree. Go trees. And
Is that literally what they say? Go trees?
yeah, they do nowadays.
Huh. Okay. I need to expand my horizons. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Go
They should have made
trees.
the
Go
tournament
trees.
this year,
Yeah.
but-
Well, they made the finals there.
I
And,
know.
Larry Bird,
NIT.
right?
Yeah, Larry Bird.
Home of Larry Bird,
I'm a Larry Bird.
So,
which is exciting. And
so I went to
Go
college there
trees.
for aviation. I got my bachelor's in science in professional pilot technology and went on from there into the corporate world of flying. So,
Awesome.
what sparked your desire to be a pilot?
well, as my parents would say, I pretty much was born with it. And I wanted to be a pilot since I could walk and talk. I kind of drove them crazy with it as a child. So
You had toy airplanes while everybody else had whatever else.
I was the little kid that you put in baseball. And because we were under a flight path for O'Hare, I was constantly looking up, not paying attention to the ball and getting hit in the head. So, yeah, I was more interested in what was going on up in the sky than paying attention on the Little League field. So,
Oh, and we didn't have the apps back then where you could track that stuff.
no, it was
which
just
fascinating technology, by the way.
Absolutely.
it was
that we
just
know.
look up and dream all day long
Yeah.
about what was going by.
What you could do and how you could fly.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I had my dad's brother had an airplane, so I had an uncle that was actually I had 2 uncles that were pilots, but one of them had an airplane that when I was little I used to get to go flying with him. So
Okay, that's
kinda
cool.
Kept the bug going.
Absolutely. And as far as training goes, obviously you've got a degree.
I do. Yeah.
And then beyond the degree, after you graduate, I'm sure they just hand you the keys.
No, it's a
fly.
It's literally lifelong training. I just got out of recurrent training last week, so even though I'm typed in the aircraft that we currently operate, every year you go back for annual training, or annual torture, as we call it.
Annual torture.
So so I just went from college, and you build up your flight time, being a flight instructor. You know, they give you a license to learn, and now you're trying to teach everybody else what you know. And built up time from there and went on into the corporate world. And I flew 135, which is air taxi, to build up time as a young green behind the ears pilot and get some mentoring from others, and then stepped into the corporate world.
You used a phrase there, typed in to an aircraft. Help us novices.
So each airplane that you go to, like within our flight department, we've got 3 different types of aircraft. And you have to go to school specifically on that airplane. And then at the end of that schooling, you take what's called a check ride, and that check ride types you in that airplane. You can specifically fly that plane. Like currently, we have 3 different versions of airplanes. We have Learjets, we have a Falcon, we have the Pilatus. Currently, I'm only typed in the Pilatus, so that's the only airframe I'm flying right now. But eventually, I'll be typed in the other ones, and you'll be able to fly those, and then we'll be cross-trained.
And that's all about training and then hours.
Training and hours and experience.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow. To use a car example just for us that don't fly, if a sedan versus a pickup versus a semi, those would be 3 different types?
Yes, or even like you've got branding even. You could go from, Chevy to Mercedes to Bentley, so to speak.
And you need additional training because the aircraft is different enough.
Each one's different. The systems are different. The limitations are different. So you've got to specifically learn that airplane. We call it drinking through a fire hose because you get about 2 weeks of ground school and about a week and a half of sim training.
Whoa.
So it's fast and furious.
Have they ever talked about, as an industry, maybe some more consistency across brand?
No, because everybody's got their specifics to the way they build or manufacture that sets them apart, and that's how they sell it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Differentiation becomes the buying point. But man, I would like to think if I could jump in one, I could jump in the other, but that's not the case.
No, it's the same way in the airlines. You may have 5 different Boeing type aircraft. You've got Boeing 737s, 57s, 67s, 87s, and each one of those is a different type rating as well, because you're learning specifically that airplane and all the nuances to that specific aircraft.
Which, as a passenger, it's really good that you know that.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah, for sure.
However, it's very difficult for you guys. That's a lot to keep up on.
It's a lot, and it's a lot to know. Like, some of our fellows are on 2, 3 different airframes, so it's a lot of knowledge to keep in your inventory or your filing cabinet.
Yeah,
I'm happy to remember my Social Security number. I feel good about myself when that
What
day
is that?
ends. I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I think it ends in a 9er.
Okay.
If our staff, we have these 3 types, most of our team knows all 3 types. Is that unusual for a private flight crew?
Typically, most flight departments have maybe 1 or 2 different type of airframes, and it depends on how they want to operate. They limit some of them to like just knowing 2. So, and eventually, I think that's where our department will end up going. We'll have 2 different airframes, and we'll all be cross-trained on those.
As we grow, we can
As
do
we
that.
grow, yep.
Are you fixed wing only?
Fixed wing only for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Ooh, good
we have
verbiage.
3 helicopter pilots, rotor wing guys right now, and then they also fly the Falcon and the Lears, and they don't do the Pilatus. So
Okay.
Whew. I'm dizzy. That's a lot to remember.
It's a lot to remember.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, fixed wing. You can at least just rotary engines just seem like a whole different beast.
Yeah, well, the
Everything.
whole concept of the flying is different there.
Why do they
You're
exist?
flying off of a rotor, a blade versus a wing. That
Yeah.
blade's what's giving those guys the lift. So I've been fortunate to get a couple of rides now in our helicopter, so it's kind of
very
fun
cool.
to experience that with those guys and
Yeah.
Very fun.
see the difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. As far as that knowledge base, when I think of very intelligent people, I automatically think of doctors, lawyers, and NASA. I should now include pilots.
Always.
Beck's flight department.
Yeah.
At a minimum.
Yeah.
But just to have all that knowledge, clearly there is an intelligence level that's necessary in order to be a pilot, or at least a good memory.
And we're pretty fortunate here. We have a lot of guys that have a lot of experience too.
That's a game changer.
From our director of aviation down.
Okay. Yeah, that's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, we got like 5 or 6 guys that are very senior at Beck. So us newbies have to rely a lot on those guys for their experience here and how we operate in our realm.
Yeah.
Here in our flight department. So it's kind of nice to have those guys to lean on.
It's crazy to think the amount of hours, just flight hours, that have been logged between the team.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah.
Well,
Wow.
I've gotten almost 300 since I was started in July.
Oh, wow.
And July really doesn't count because I was gone at school that whole month.
Yeah.
So I really came online in August, right at Becknology days. So since August till now.
School for our particular aircraft.
For our Pilatus PC-24, the most recent one that we have.
And that was a month long.
3 weeks, just over 3 weeks.
Whew. Okay.
So,
Wow. Speaking of our Beck flight crew, what's a typical day for a Beck's flight captain?
A typical day for us is we go out really early in the morning, and it's all scheduled in time so that we arrive back here. All of us looks like a little nest of bees coming home to the hive. We arrive back around 9:50 to get our clients into the hangar and then on the bus to come up here. Then we're waiting around for 4 or 5 hours in the day. Typically, we're busy doing planning for other trips, just meetings in general amongst the flight department. And then we're there until about 3:30 in the afternoon. About 2:30, we start prepping for the outbound, and you go home, take them back, drop your farmers off for dinner, and then we head right back home.
So
we're home about 7 or 8 in the evening. About 14-hour day is what we're limited to. So it usually run about 12 hours that you're out and
That's
gone.
a typical day.
Yep.
Wow. And that weather obviously plays a huge piece into all of this.
Weather plays a huge piece.
What's the worst weather for a plane?
I'm really the icing and the winter ops seems to be the toughest for us, especially out in these remote regions that we operate in, because they don't have the capabilities for the de-icing and stuff that we need. So that's a real big challenge for us, is just the winter ops and dealing with those small airports.
Now, rumor has it that your hubby works here.
He does.
What's that like?
It's not as unique for us as you might think. We used to fly together back in the, I'm going to date myself, in the mid-90s. We flew together for 4 years in a company.
When you were 4.
Yeah, when we were just kids.
Yeah.
We were young kids, cutting our teeth in aviation, and we flew for a charter company out of northern Indiana together. So
Very nice.
Then we parted ways for a while because it was such a small department. We could never get time off together or anything else. And I went my way. I came here to Indianapolis and flew for a health insurance company down here for 5 years. And then he flew for an orthopedic company out of Warsaw, Indiana, a small one owned by Johnson & Johnson. So
Very small.
Very small.
Yeah.
Very small.
I'm wearing their Band-Aid right now on my toe.
Which he kind of did with them what we do here at Beck's. It was all client tours. They were bringing in surgeons for educational purposes and also touring the manufacturing facilities at Depew. And then...
So we're not the only ones doing customer tours.
No, that was a huge part of the orthopedic industry back in the day. That's kind of slowed up a little bit for them, but that was their basis too, was doing client tours. So this is not new to him. No. For me, it's a little new. I went on and left the health insurance and went to First Source Bank out of South Bend. Flew there for 17 years.
You were then only in a true commercial environment for how long?
Wow, 20 years.
Okay, you were
really
commercial pilot and then private. I'm calling us private. Is that the right term?
No, we're still commercial.
We're still commercial.
Yeah. Corporate aviation is still basically commercial aviation as well. We operate under those rules and policies.
Gotcha.
We operate just like anybody else. We have what we call standard operating procedures that the company set forth for safety and reliability there.
Did you ever fly the 727 or 737?
No, I did not.
Never did that.
I got into this side of aviation on the corporate side and found the quality of life to be outstanding. I didn't have to commute to New York to work and sleep in a crash pad with 15 other people. And so I kind of realized early on that this was kind of more for me. And I liked working with people individually and getting to know the passengers in the back. You know, the airlines, they close the door and they don't ever talk to anybody in the back.
No.
So whether it was the executives I was flying or now the farmers, we get to chat with them and build relationships. So I really like that part of it.
Absolutely. Shifting gears slightly, are there a lot of female pilots?
Right now, current numbers are showing about 7% of the licensed or certified pilots in the U.S. are women.
7.
Yeah, only 7. Only 7.
Wow.
And it trickles down even less than that. They're actually doing it as a career, but I think that's running around 4 or 5%.
Okay.
But those numbers are increasing every year, and we're fortunate enough, like I said, we're bringing on a 14th pilot here next month, and she's just about to graduate out of Purdue.
Good
So
deal.
it's going to be kind of unique to have two women in the flight department. You're going to have the old lady, you're going to have the young gal. So it's going to be a neat dynamic, I think. I'm looking
Very
really
cool.
forward to Grace coming on.
Very cool.
And Grace starts when again? I'm sorry.
She'll start middle of June, and then she goes to school in July on the PC-24 as well.
We'll keep an eye out for Grace. Did you have a role model that you looked up to, a female pilot? You said, that's why I want to be a pilot.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I did
I wanna
not.
forge my own road, and that's
I didn't
okay.
know anybody really into it as far as females go at all back when I was a kid or learning to fly. Even through college. When I went to college, there was 125 of us in the class, and 3 of us were girls.
Wow.
So it was just rare. Very rare.
My goodness. Advice you would give then to a young lady that's thinking about aviation?
Never give up on it. It's very doable. I've had a great quality of life, and I've raised 2 kids doing it. Typically, everybody says, well, what about your family life? My family life's been great. It's afforded me a lot of time with my kids. I've been able to schedule things around. You don't make everything that they do, but it's also created pretty well-balanced kids, I think, where they're not so dependent on us that they can't manage life without us.
We don't raise them to keep them. We raise them to let them go.
Raise them to fly the nest.
Amen. And that's sometimes hard to remember as a parent, but it's a good thing. Very good thing. Any discouragement or, barriers to you becoming a pilot that you had to fight through, regardless of gender, just in general?
Just in general, I've been very fortunate. No, I've not had to experience those barriers. I've talked to other especially female pilots that feel they've had barriers or they feel that somebody's made maybe a comment that was taken wrong or they didn't like. But I've been so fortunate. I've just worked with great people that have been all encouraging. I mean, even at the bank, I made it to chief pilot there and managed the department. I had nothing but support and encouragement from everyone.
Fantastic.
So I've been very blessed.
Absolutely. God is good. God is faithful. How would other pilots, friends, even your hubby, how would they describe Gina? How do we get to know you?
Oh, wow. Maybe my husband would probably say bossy. Demanding.
Not.
Demanding.
Oh, no.
Well, I don't know how everybody else would. I would hope that they would find me to be encouraging and supportive of them as well.
Good. Now, you say demanding. Is it that, or is it more that you have to be particular because of your job?
Probably that. Little type A.
It's necessary.
And expecting everybody else, or my kids would say OCD, because I expect things to be done very methodically and
as you should.
As they like to say, Mom likes things put back where they were found.
Hey, good job, you.
So
that's not your preference. That's just right. I'm in a similar vein, so I feel like it came from there. It goes back
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thank you. And your pre-flight routines and post-flight routines would lead to this, I assume.
Absolutely. Everything's very methodical and it's done the same way every time. And that's what builds on safety.
And safety being so important, so valuable, not only are you caring for 100 other lives or 10 other lives, depending on the size of the aircraft, but you can't afford a flat tire in the air.
No, and even if you have those issues, you need to be able to work through them methodically and handle the situation.
As emotionless as possible. What's the next step? Use logic.
Yep. Logic, work through it, and rely on your team member that's with you. So
Absolutely.
a lot of team building goes on in our flight department.
If you can share maybe the worst moment or scariest moment you've had professionally where you had to work through something like that.
You have minor failures or minor complications a lot, but I've been pretty fortunate and flown good equipment, so
That makes a big difference.
yeah. So I haven't had any major engine shutdowns or anything like that. And honestly, the technology that we fly nowadays is so reliable.
It really is.
That we practice and drill for that all the time. And you just hope it doesn't happen. I've been one of the fortunate ones that hasn't had anything massive like that to happen.
Good. Praise the Lord.
And for Beck's, I have to say we have an outstanding maintenance department.
Yeah.
We've got
really
6 mechanics that are top notch, and they keep us in the air all the time, consistently. So I praise those guys every day, and I'm very thankful for them.
Excellent team. Shoot, you can see that. You can tell that when you walk into the hangar.
It's a beautiful hangar.
It's
Wow.
spotless. You can eat off the floor, and they take great pride in that, just like we take pride in our aircraft and the way they look for the customers.
And you've heard people say that, eat off the floor. This one you actually can. Legit.
It's
Yeah.
spotless. It is beautiful.
It's like a mirror.
Yeah. It's gorgeous.
It is like a mirror. It's a great example. It really is. In fact, I have eaten off that floor. We had a dealer meeting there one time, and an egg roll or something went rolling. I grabbed it anyway.
Yeah, no worrying about the 5-second rule there.
Didn't even care. It's so beautiful. Now, your specific role on the team obviously is to fly the aircraft, but give us as much detail as you can. Which aircraft are you flying? You mentioned that already, but then once you're in flight, what's that look like?
In flight, we're just, we take off. We fly through about 10,000 feet hand flying. A lot of times in airlines, it's 400 feet autopilot on. We try to keep our skills current and relevant and built up by doing some hand flying. And then autopilot comes on through about 10,000 feet, and now you're back to just monitoring systems and watching out for en route weather or anything else that you might have coming up. And then in the cruise phase, you start planning for your landing and thinking ahead to there. You're checking weather at the next airport. We're going through all the details of what that airport has to offer for us, such as runway lengths, approaches, picking up the weather there. And we're pretty lucky. We've got some really sophisticated systems within our aircraft that we can look ahead for weather both graphically and in text mode. So we're always planning ahead for the next moment. You're always thinking ahead as you're flying.
A METAR.
Yep, a METAR. Look
METAR.
It's my
what is
pilot in
that?
training right here.
Yeah.
What is a METAR?
It's your hourly weather observation at an airport. So every hour they launch out what's happening. And now within that hour, if something would change, then they'll issue what they call a special. And you'll know that something specifically has changed within that hour. So it kind of draws your attention to it.
Yep, I would have thought it was related to Avatar, but apparently not.
Nah.
METAR.
Yeah.
All right, I learned something new every day.
There you go.
Really cool. Thank you, Morgan.
Yeah,
welcome.
see,
Well done, sir.
Morgan's on it. I'm ready to
great.
break out my flight instructor grading and get to
I'm
work
in.
here.
Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah. Now, if you were to, let's say Morgan's your co-pilot and you're hand flying the plane at 10,000 feet, what's Morgan doing?
Morgan's talking on the radio. He's
Okay.
taking any directions that they give us and working, like if they would give us a heading change or an altitude change, he's dialing in all the information and sending me where I need to go.
Ah, so he is navigator.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Not unlike the Rio in a
Kind of navigator
fighter pilot.
extraordinaire. We call it pilot monitoring.
Ooh.
So he's also monitoring and make sure I'm doing everything right and that I haven't missed anything or,
Well, shoot, you're my co-pilot, so
Yeah.
you could easily go fly with Gina.
honestly, we kind of laugh and say that's the harder seat to be in is
I bet.
that right seat monitoring because you're busy. You've got things going on all the time.
Checking
Absolutely.
weather, twisting knobs. I like to watch the weather map come in, and they're always
Yes. Okay, and the pilot is simply flying the
Simply
aircraft.
flying the airplane. You're driving. Yeah.
That does sound like the co-pilot's doing more, and I would have thought it was in reverse.
And they're running all the checklists. So,
oh my.
no, it's the co-pilot seat's the busy seat.
They're busy. Now, on Beck's aircraft, some of them I've had cookies. The co-pilot's not making cookies too, are they?
Not making cookies, but if you tap him on the shoulder and you need directions of where you can find the snacks or the coffee drawer, he can do that too.
Yep.
You're well cared for, just like we are.
Yep.
We have snacks everywhere in this
I know.
place. It's crazy.
I know.
If you ever come here, trust me, that they're everywhere. They're loaded.
We have the best candy and snacks on the airplane for our passengers.
Oh, man. We're so spoiled.
They're the full-size house on Halloween, where kids go and get the full-size Twix bars.
We give you the mini candy bars going in and out of the hangar, but once you're in the airplane, you get the full-size treatment.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. I'm all about someone taking care of me. So this is a good day. I'm selfish and spoiled. I'll take it. Any quotes or sayings that you kind of live by, Gina? Things, mantras or mottos?
I always say, don't cry because don't cry because this happened. Smile because it happened.
Yeah, that's good.
That's very good. Everything is either a stepping stone or a stumbling block, and it's our choice to...
Yeah. Make it positive, always. I'm not a glass half empty person. I'm a glass half full. So,
how have your kids responded to that advice over the years?
Actually, my son's really good about it. My daughter sometimes still is like, oh, whatever, Mom. Everybody can have a bad day.
Sure. How old are the kids? We forgot to ask that early on.
She will be 24 in September, and he just turned 21. So... she's a graduate student at the University of South Carolina, and he's going to be senior at Purdue this year. It's hard to believe.
Wow.
Where does time go, Gina?
It flies by. No pun intended.
No pun intended. It's just, it's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Our middle son's getting ready to graduate college, and our youngest is graduating high school. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's where I blinked and it was over.
Yeah. Morgan actually doesn't age.
My hair color would tell you otherwise.
He's trapped in a time warp, but the rest of us are just, it's happening quickly.
Morgan should share that tip with us and how he manages that.
Okay, there's a fountain down in Florida. Right.
Ponce
de
de Leon.
Went looking for it. I happened to find it.
Oh, that's very good. Well, Gina, anything else? What else did I miss, Morgan?
Yeah, you said we were talking off camera. Your son is going into aerospace engineering.
Yep.
Is your daughter following any sort of aviation as well?
No, she's off into the healthcare world. She's studying her master's is in public health administration.
Oh wow!
So she's going to be
for her
somewhere in a hospital environment,
managing all the things that nobody really wants to manage.
Yeah,
the hard stuff behind the scenes.
The hard stuff behind the scenes and dealing with all the medical insurance and regulations and stuff. I think.
Yeah.
Well, good for her.
But I also don't believe she'll come back to Indiana. I think she's set on staying down in the South where it's warm. And
I was going to say, I've also been to that campus, and it is very pretty.
Yeah, she was a Gamecock athlete. She rode on their equestrian team. So.
Oh, cool.
So she loves it. She's a forever to the Gamecock.
There you go.
Yeah. On the equestrian team, what events?
She rode the Western horsemanship.
Good for her.
So that's where she was. She just finished up her 5th year this year. So she's officially done with her collegiate career.
Because they are on the same time clock as like a football athlete or basketball?
Yep, they are. And she was just lucky enough to be afforded that 5th year because of COVID.
Oh, yes.
They
added 1 year for those students
the nasty
trapped in
COVID cycle that they were in.
That was a bummer. Yeah. But as a fellow horse lover, I'm glad she's riding Western. I've never understood the English saddle myself, so it looks uncomfortable at best.
I don't understand any of it. So, cool.
Morgan, I had a kid in it, and I still don't really understand it either. So I'm with you.
Oh, awesome.
I can groom it. I can brush it. Yeah. Don't ask me much more than that.
You're doing great, Gina. That's a huge step. And Morgan, I've got just the horse for you. We call him
Morgan?
Killer.
Oh. It's not a Morgan
Not
horse.
a Morgan horse, but we owned a Morgan for a while. They're a pretty good horse. Little stubborn. Yeah, a little stubborn.
Is that where I get it?
A little stubborn. Hint.
Yeah.
Oh, what else did I miss? There's got to be other questions I missed.
What's your favorite movie and why is it Top Gun?
You got it. It is Top Gun. Top Gun, and I love all the aerobatics that they actually did on their own. It's not fake.
It's
super
crazy.
cool.
So the
Maverick
realism of there.
Is Maverick better than Top Gun then because of the more of those acrobatics? Or
You know, I'm really more of an original movie kind of person. So I'm going to go with Top Gun. But don't get me wrong, I saw Maverick more than once.
Yeah, they're both great.
So
And
Quality
the F-18 is
films.
just a beautiful plane anyway. So
It is. Yeah, it was hard to watch Maverick with someone who had not seen Top Gun. And that happened to me twice. And I'm like, seriously, you've got to see the original. They were like left
Yeah.
out and nowhere.
you wouldn't
built.
have any understanding, no backstory to that.
That's the problem. And that's where experience, as you mentioned, is so important, even in movie watching.
And then I would say my other number 2 movie is Apollo 13.
Oh, that's
Because
cool.
I was a huge NASA kid. I always thought my dream would be, if I didn't fly, I'd be an astronaut. So
Oh boy, that's a calling, because that's a hard existence. But man, I'm glad they do what they do, because our cell phones work because of them. We need people out in space doing what they do in space. I don't even know.
space stuff.
It's important. Yeah,
Space stuff.
Space stuff. Very important.
Yeah.
Gina, other things we forgot to ask that you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I think we covered just a pretty wide swath of what we do.
Good deal. And we'll just have to interview your husband as opposed to you speaking on his behalf.
Well, we are called Mom and Dad in the flight department, so I guess you do need that other perspective.
But does that mean you can discipline everybody?
No, but we get kind of the joke of Mom and Dad are coming, everybody better straighten up.
Yeah. Get this floor clean. Put it back where you found it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because the term
Make
grounding.
sure we got all the snacks on board that we need.
Ooh, that's important.
I do have a question. How can they fit all those planes in that?
In the hangar,
Yeah.
it's a tight squeeze. And again, we're going to go back to, we got the best maintenance department out there, because it's
Truly,
those guys that are moving and grooving those airplanes around and making them fit. And it's like a perfect puzzle piece coming together.
Is.
But it's the most beautiful picture
Oh, yeah.
that you've ever seen when they have them all stacked in there together,
Yeah.
so tight.
Yeah.
Go up on that second level of our hangar, the office spaces,
Oh,
and
yeah.
look down from those glass windows on it. And it is absolutely spectacular to see.
It's like the most beautiful Tetris you've ever seen. Really impressive. How close is the closest plane to the other? Do you
I'm not
think?
sure. I want to hear this
there's
because
sometimes it's just mere inches that you can't even walk between, like the wing to the tail. So it's very precise. And again, kudos to the maintenance
Yeah.
guys for driving those things in there and getting them in.
And the person who figured out that puzzle.
That's probably Mr. Phil Ward, the director of
Oh, I
maintenance.
bet.
yeah, for sure.
I'll probably give Phil credit for that.
Man, the
Shout
myth,
out
the
Phil.
Along with
legend.
his guys.
Yeah. What a gift.
Yeah.
Well done. Well, we've come to the best part or worst part, depending on how you feel about the Fun Fast 5.
Oh no, here we go.
Are you ready?
Oh, I'll give it the best shot I got.
Okay. I tried not to overdo it on flight type puns and whatnots, but I can't promise anything for sure. First one, coffee, tea, or soda.
Tea for me.
Okay. Pancakes or waffles.
Waffles.
Staycation or vacation.
Vacation.
Okay. Explore space or the ocean.
Space.
Yeah, you'd already answered that one already. I didn't
Yeah.
know she was going to go down. I wanted to be in NASA. Ruined my question. Way to go, Gina. Speak any language or communicate with animals.
Speak any language.
And why?
It opens up your whole world of getting to know others outside of just your small cluster.
Yeah.
Like I have friends that are Hispanic and they can speak it, and I'm just like, oh, I took like 4 years of that in high school and I don't remember anything, nor did we really learn that much.
It's such a bummer
Yeah.
that happens. I'm in the same boat. I know enough in Spanish to get around, get lost, and probably not get back home. Mm-hmm. It's not good. Do you speak any other languages?
Like I said, I took Spanish and French in high school, and I'm not
Neither
really
one of
fluent in
them.
either one of them. Use it, you lose it, you know, and I
that's
didn't
just it.
use it,
Yep,
so I lost
yep,
it. It went
yep.
flying right on.
Yep, absolutely. Would it be, if you could pick one language, would it be Spanish, do you think?
You know, I think I'd want to learn German.
German.
Yeah.
Okay, why German?
I just find Germany a fascinating country.
All right. Any
And I'd
heritage
like to go
in
there.
that? Is Beckner German?
Well, my mother's family was from Germany
Okay.
in the history of their their roots. So yeah,
Very good. Have you been?
I have not. My daughter just got lucky. She went to Germany over spring break.
So if your husband is listening, perhaps your next birthday gift should be a trip to Germany.
Well, that or I like the islands too.
Yeah,
If I'm
those
going
are
off on a
nice.
nice vacation to relax, it'd probably be that.
Why
to go
not?
sightsee.
Yeah.
Let's go to Germany. But
Right.
yeah,
That's a very active vacation. You're
Yeah.
going to be very much doing and busy and
and
going.
we're so busy here. Sometimes it's good to just go chill somewhere
Absolutely.
and reset,
Melt.
reset the mind, and reset, and get
Yes.
ready to go for the next phase of the Becks.
That
Flight
sounds-
department push.
That sounds really good. So if you were to take Morgan and I and our spouses, let's say somewhere like that, we don't need to tell Scott and Sonny, do we? We could just go
Well,
on a Beck plane.
Don't look at me.
I'm gonna,
He
I'm
went
gonna
rogue
tell
on
you
this.
that those planes are flight tracked all the time,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
don't
Man.
move without Sonny and Scott
yeah.
knowing.
Yep.
So
Well, I guess
there's
we'll have to
no
tell 'em.
sneaking out of the hangar.
Darn it.
It's called being a stowaway. You just
Oh.
hop in the back there.
We might be able to hide you away to get to the Caymans in the back of the Falcon.
Let's do it.
I'll take that jump seat back there.
Yeah.
Easily.
Neither Morgan and I take up a lot of room.
I fit
We're
in
good.
most overhead storage compartments. So we're good.
And if you're going somewhere tropical, you really don't need much luggage, so you could leave that behind. Just
Yeah.
pack your,
Nope.
carry your
Swimsuit,
carry your
t-shirt,
flip flops in hand.
Oh, yeah.
good to go.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Gina, this has been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thanks.
joining us on Across the Acres. This has been really good. Thank you to all of you for joining us on Across the Acres, where our goal is to connect, challenge, and inspire. Please give us a 5-star rating and review on the podcast provider of your choice. And until next time, we will catch you across the acres.